Welcome back, Ronin Renegades. I'm Lupine Fiasco, this is Daily FaB Gameplay, and today we finally exit our gauntlet of Kano. For anyone who is new to the channel, welcome to the Resistance. What we do here is review replays of games that I have played on the Talishar client days or weeks ago, after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my play. I will walk through turn cycles as if I were taking them now, while explaining my thought process behind the lines that I take, and compare that to what I did at the time of recording. We either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns, with the overall goal of tightening and optimizing our gameplay in the future to take down paper events like ProQuests or Road to Nationals, and most importantly, walk away with that shiny, shiny cardboard. Without further ado, let's talk about our sideboard and our game plan. Today's game features my Switchblade list. If you would like to check that list out or try it for yourself on Talishar, the FaB deck link is available in the video description below. While you're down there, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. It is the best free way to support me and to make sure you see daily FaB gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. The best paid way to support me is through Patreon, and my Patreon link is available in the video description as well. A Patreon subscription gets you Discord access, your name appears in every daily FaB gameplay video, and there are even more great benefits to come. Daily FaB gameplay will always be free 5 days a week, so for those who can afford to patronize me, I truly appreciate it. I promise this is the last Kano game you will see in a while. I don't know why I ran into so many of them this week after not seeing a single Kano for months leading up to it, but I do feel like this is a good game and a good way to cap off the other two Kano games you've already seen. As far as sideboarding goes, we are sticking to our same plan of boarding our Emberblade and our Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. We are bringing our Spell Void 2 to stop Kano's big combo turn, and we are keeping our Snapdragon Scalers. We no longer run Arcane Barrier, even with consideration for Kano. I should mention that we lost the die roll, but have been chosen to go first. I can't speak to Kano's thought process here. For my part, I want to go first in this matchup. It lets me leak damage over Kano's blocks, and with a good enough hand, I can force him to block enough that he cannot use his hero power on my turn 1, so it inhibits the amount of damage that he can deal to us leading up to his big combo. As far as the actual 60, we are still just boarding out our Bleed Outs and boarding in our Spreading Flames. Bleed Out is practically useless with Emberblade, as 2 for 4 go again is very bad. And Spreading Flames gives us even more pop-off potential against Kano. Kano deals no physical damage, so none of our defense reactions are any good. The general game plan here is to find an Art of War and throw a 5-card Art of War or Spreading Flames turn at Kano to force him to throw his combo pieces away on blocks or attempt to combo us before he has dealt enough damage to kill us. Spell Void 2 is primarily used on Aether Wildfire, as that will prevent both the damage increase effect of Wildfire and prevent a lot more damage that Blazing Aether will deal at the end of Kano's attack. That's really it. We cannot interact with Kano's arcane damage outside of Spell Void, and we are saving our Spell Void specifically for the combo turn, so anything else that Kano does to us is just damage that we are taking. We cannot interact with Kano's items, we cannot interact with Kano's draw effects, so we are really just trying to high roll Kano before he can high roll us. These matches should not take longer than 10 minutes and will likely not go longer than 5 turns. The only thing we are trying to do is optimize our offensive potential and try to get more damage on Kano than he can get onto us. So with all that said, let's just jump into it. With us on the play and looking at this hand, the card I am most interested in sticking into Arsenal is Double Strike. I want Double Strike on a future turn so that I can increase the power of my Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. Outside of this turn 1, or if Kano is about to die, I don't expect him to do any blocking, as he would much rather throw his cards into damaging me and bringing my life total down to put less pressure on his combo turn. Aether Wildfire, Lesson in Lava, Blazing Aether is a very, very good series of cards, but the maximum amount of damage it can deal through Spell Void 2 is 26. So if Kano can't put us below 27 and doesn't have an energy potion or enough blues in hand to really get use out of Metacarpus nodes, then he just loses. So he really wants to be spending his cards to damage us. And he is finding a great way to do it here, as this Aether Flare is going to deal 4 points of damage to us, which is going to increase the power of this Blazing Aether by 4 while adding 4 damage to it from its own effect. So we take 12 on Kano's turn and find ourselves very close to being in combo range after just 1 turn. Kano, of course, not blocking. We get very lucky in that we draw a second Double Strike to complement the first one we have in Arsenal. These 2 blue Soul Bead strikes are pretty bad. One of them pays for the Emberblade and the Phoenix Flame, which is nice, but the second one here just not really doing anything. With 3 hits on the combat chain, Salt the Wound does as much damage as Lava Burst, and assuming all of these double strikes hit is going to far exceed Lava Burst's damage. So as soon as we get 3 hits on the chain, knowing that we want to break Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, we are fine to grab Salt the Wound, and you can apply that to all of your games outside of Kano. Lava Burst's Rupture effect adds 3 power to the card itself. Salt the Wound gets +1 power for each hit on the chain, so as long as you have 3 hits, Salt is equal to Lava Burst, and because late game Salt the Wounds are harder to increase the power of as your opponent is in full defense, you want to keep Lava Bursts in your deck. Here, we are throwing the Soul Bead Strike. We want to use our Snapdragon Scalers, and we want to get a card out of Kano's hand so that he is less likely to be able to combo us, or at least to deal a ton of damage on his turn. He is going to Sonic Boom us for 4. The Sonic Boom just flips a blue Aether Dart, which is not great damage for Kano, but it still puts us within kill range of the Wildfire combo. So we kind of need Kano to get unlucky here. So far, he hasn't played a Tome of Aetherwind or Fiendal, and he hasn't played an Energy Potion. So while Kano does run quite a few blues, it is very possible that he's seeing a number of reds in his hand. We make a judgment call here to bottom our Phoenix Flame to the Enlightened Strike to push an additional 4 points of damage this turn. Kano blocks this E-Strike with a Wildfire, so I believe we are correct in thinking he has too many reds to reliably combo us. And because we're expecting this game to end very shortly, we don't mind losing the Phoenix Flame. Kano here is at 2, so really any attack in our deck is going to be able to threaten lethal and force him to combo us or die. Lesson in Lava here for 4, taking us to 19. Kano grabs the Aether Wildfire, which is going to go into his hand. We throw a Rising Resentment and see what Kano can do. Kano pitching a red to start off his combo is great for us. Pitching an additional blue to activate Ragamuffin. We know that there was an Aether Wildfire in Kano's hand, and apparently he keeps it there. He draws an Aether Spindle, puts it back on the top of his deck with Ragamuffin, and now using the Spellfire Cloak to generate an additional resource is able to play it. Without Metacarpus node, this is going to deal 4 points of damage to us and allow Kano to opt the top 4 cards of his deck. I make a judgment call here that I believe is correct, and that I do want to take just a minute to talk about. I am going to use both pieces of Spell Void on this Aether Spindle. We know that Kano has Wildfire in his hand, so in theory, we could save this Spell Void for Kano's Wildfire, and that is going to decrease the power of the rest of his turn. But I have seen three things this game that make me want to reduce the power of Aether Spindle. 1, Kano pitched a red on this turn, and he has no available resources. So the pressure is really on him to find blues to pay for the rest of his turn. 2, Kano has not played a tome. And 3, Kano has not played an energy potion. The chance that these cards are near the top of his deck is very high, and if he can find them, he may just win the game. Aether Spindle here hitting for 4, then revealing the top 4 cards of Kano's deck, letting him put a tome or an energy potion on top, is going to give him the resources he needs to play his Aether Wildfire, to use his Metacarpus nodes, to activate his Storm Striders, to play Blazing Aether, and he can't do any of that right now. We are at such a low life total that this Spindle and 3 points of damage on the Wildfire is going to be enough to kill us. So what we really need to do here is just prevent Kano from seeing cards. If Kano finds a tome, or if Kano finds an energy potion, we may very well just be dead, and especially if he can find a tome that draws 2 blues, and one of those blues flips an E-Pot from Kano. We're really grasping at straws here. We took way too much damage leading up to us killing Kano, so our only chance here is to stop him from stacking his deck and force him to blank on the rest of this turn. Kano opts 2 cards to the bottom of the deck with 1 Kano activation left on the stack, and it does not reveal the energy potion or the tome. So Kano has to block this Rising Resentment with the Aether Wildfire in hand, and we are able to kill him with our remaining cards. I really wanted to show this game because it really runs counter to everything I've said about the Kano leading up to this point. We were not able to present enough damage quickly enough to force Kano off of comboing. We took a lot of damage leading up to the point that we could present lethal, and the correct play in this case was to use our Spell Void to prevent Kano from opting. Now it's totally possible that the top 2 cards of Kano's deck are exactly what he needs to see. He sees a Tome of Aetherwind on top and a blue and is able to stack them so that the Tome draws 2 blues, he activates Kano and rips an energy potion off the top of the deck. It's very possible that he does just high roll us and win the game, but by using our Spell Void to prevent the opt, we drastically lower his chance of doing that. So I think this was a very good Kano game, a third example of the way these matches can go, which is Kano does very well up until the point that he tries to combo us and then just bricks. Kano doesn't always have it, and the consistency of FaB means that we may not always have it. I didn't play an Art of War that turn. My Salt the Wound came for 9, but was built up to that point by double strikes, which were essentially 0 for 2. So we didn't exactly high roll Kano either. We did well enough to put him into a position that he had to go off maybe before he was ready. But our deck is consistent enough that once Kano gets to that low point, we're going to have the 0 for 3 that kills him. So I do hope this game was useful. I do hope this series of Kano games this week was illuminating on how the hero works and how we can play against it, and even without the ability to interact with his arcane damage, we can at least look at his pitch stacking and what he has or hasn't played off the top of his deck to get an idea of what tools he may have available, be it tomes or energy potions or Lesson in Lava or any of the combo pieces that would kill us. If you did like this video and find it helpful, please jab that like button. My comments are always open for any questions or feedback, and I will see you back here next week for more Kano-less daily FaB gameplay. Until then, take care.